Martin was a man.
He was someone like Joseph in the Bible days. He fought for equality. He strived for the human race. He loved humanity. He died, with dignity. He laid down his life for his friend.
Good morning, and welcome to Carlisle's 32nd Annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commemoration. We are delighted to have several of our prominent community leaders to join us in celebrating with us as we encourage you to participate in the day of service, to remember the past and its struggles, celebrate the present progress thus far, and act together in moving even closer to the dream that Reverend Dr. King envisioned. This year's theme is Pursuing the Dream, Unifying in Truth and Love. Our civic leaders will provide a short salutation to provide context to this day and motivate us to join them in the common goal of uniting in truth and love. We will start with the Mayor of Carlisle, Mayor Tim Scott.
Greetings, Carlisle community, and happy Martin Luther King Day and Martin Luther King Celebration Week. Thank you to the MLK Commemorative Committee for asking me to provide a warm welcome from Carlisle's elected officials. Happy to do so. This year's commemoration of the life and legacy of Dr. King looks a little different because of the pandemic. However, this pandemic and its disproportionate effects on racial and minority groups reminds us that Dr. King's philosophy of nonviolence equally applies to fighting the virus as well as fighting desegregation and standing up for voting rights. Nonviolence includes principles and steps for social change. It always has. And the first step in any movement is information. So, as your mayor, I urge you to arm yourselves with the facts and know and trust your sources. Sources like the CDC, Center for Disease Control, the American Medical Association, United Way 211, Pennsylvania Department of Health, Cumberland County Department of Public Safety, and Carlisle Borough. Together, we can all achieve great things and come out on the other side of this better than ever before. Thank you, and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Mayor Scott, for providing a sober assessment of where we are and a vision for going forward. Next, we will have comments from County Commissioner Jean Foschi. She is joined with two other fellow commissioners during her presentation.
I'm Jean Foschi. I am one of Cumberland County's commissioners, and I am here with my colleagues, Commissioner Gary Eckelberger and Commissioner Vince DiFilippo, and we are honored to participate in the Carlisle Commemoration Committee's 32nd celebration of the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is fitting that after the trials and tribulations of 2020, this year's celebration calls us to pursue the dream by finding unity in truth and love. In 1967, Dr. King asked us, where do we go from here? And I think that in 2021, after a year of racial tensions, political conflict, financial despair, and the global spread of a deadly virus, more so his words ring true. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Yes, that's right, I have decided to love. So I ask you, in the spirit of Dr. King, to let go of your burdens and choose love as well. For far too long, Black and brown people in America have struggled for full protection under the law and to be recognized as full human beings. Racism and discrimination have no place in our lives and our society. Understanding racism is a lifelong, uncomfortable process and a demonstration of our love for one another, our humanity, and our vulnerability. Let's honor the tireless work of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by making 2021 the year we truly unite in truth and love to celebrate what we see as differences, so that we may move forward as one race, the human race.
Thank you, Commissioner Foschi, for encouraging us to choose love. Next, we will have a salutation from the state representative of our 199th District, Representative Barbara Gleim.
I'm State Representative Barb Gleim, and I want to thank you for allowing me to add a salutation to this year's Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We, as Americans, continue to pursue Dr. Martin Luther King's dream that we all know well. Speaking on unification and love is very important and couldn't come at a more momentous time in our nation's history. As a Christian, Jesus' command was to love your neighbor as yourself. That much is true. And as a reverend, Dr. King lived that command and urged all citizens to do the same. In that same vein and inspiration, let us consider not focusing on the things in our lives that are not perfect or that separate us, like political party, age, gender, race, income level, but on the things that unite us as American citizens, our hopes and dreams, equal opportunity for all, life-sustaining jobs, safety, or helping our neighbors in need. This country was founded on freedom and tolerance. Today and every day, I encourage everyone, in the spirit of Dr. King, to look at those you may consider different than yourself and share commonality and unite in truth and love for one another. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Representative Gleim, for your comments of unity and understanding. Next, we will have comments from the Commandant of the United States Army War College and Commanding General of Carlisle Barracks, Major General Stephen Maranian.
Let's get beyond talk and let's make equality a reality. 55 years ago, Bloody Sunday became a turning point in the civil rights movement. The assault on more than 600 marchers crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, helped lead America to pass the Voting Rights Act. In 2020, Americans took to the streets to bear witness to the lingering inequities for African Americans. Black Lives Matter became a rallying cry to address not only policing tactics, but equal access to health care, education, jobs, and wages. Will this be a turning point for America? Only time will tell if a heightened awareness and urgency translate into policy, law, and alliances that bring about tangible change. We have long honored the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for his persuasive vision. Will we look back years from now and see that 2020 was a turning point, turning his dream into a reality for every American? Dr. King's dream was for all Americans to live the American dream, to live their lives free from fear or intimidation, to live their lives with confidence in equal pay for equal work, to live their lives in any neighborhood and socialize with whomever they choose, to be equally protected under the law, with equal opportunity and equal treatment in the workplace. As an American soldier, I've taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the freedoms and rights it promises. As the Commandant of the United States Army War College, I have a duty to guide the preparation and education of senior military leaders who will influence national security matters into the middle of the century. And that preparation demands more than just academic education. We're in this business to guide ethical decision-making. We're in this business to be part of the powerful ideas that America represents throughout the world. We're in this business to develop leaders who respect every member of the armed forces and every member of the American society we serve. So we're working to make our present a turning point. The Army has established a People First Task Force. The Army is overturning norms to revise selections for promotion and command, removing photos and adding blind interviews to the pursuit of merit-based selection. At the Army War College, we're also taking action, from listening sessions to ensuring guidance to hiring panels highlight the value of diversity, to decisions about how we use displays to signal what and whom we honor, to establishing more thoughtful ways to prioritize equal opportunity and treatment for all. I believe to my core that we are stronger together and that our strength flows from diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are all in for transforming Dr. King's dream into reality. And the words of our founding fathers, that all men and women are created equally, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It will take all of us, families, communities, civil organizations, places of business, places of worship, government institutions, all of us. It will take all of us to make today a turning point for true and lasting equality. If we do this, we will create a future for which our children and our children's children will honor and thank us, and we will cement the dream that is America.
Thank you, Major General Maranian, for that passionate call to action. Next, we will have comments from the Carlisle Chief of Police, Chief Taro Landis.
Hello, I'm Taro Landis, the Chief of Police at the Carlisle Police Department. And this Dr. Martin Luther King celebration comes at a time when our nation needs to heal. We cannot change the past, but we can come together for a better future for America. And with that, I give you one of Dr. King's quotes. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us, and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. So I come to you again at this time to remind each of us that when we see things we don't like in other people, sometimes we are seeing what's in us.
Thank you, Chief Landis, for reminding us to focus on the dream and the unifying effort required of all. Lastly, we have one of our former scholarship recipients and current student of Liberty University, Joseph Brown.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to thank all of you for allowing me to speak in behalf of all the young adults in Carlisle. It's an honor to speak on unity and truth and love, that we have cherished from Dr. Martin Luther King. When thinking about unity and truth and love, we have to understand the things that Martin Luther King understood back in the time where laws were set for us to be separated and for things to be ununified. Some things that I wanted to say that dealing with consistency with Dr. Martin Luther King's vision is a unification is something that we should all look for. It should be something that we all strive for, that we're all aiming to make and to really come together with. And in order to do that, once I was saying before, we have to be able to do that in truth and love. But first, we have to explain the difference between the opinionated truth that we've dealt with and the real truth. Now, these days, we've been lately having a lot of different truths. A lot of, this is my truth, this is your truth. And I have to simply say, truth is not subjective. Truth is not a truth that can be said and opinionated and changed and altered. Truth is always going to be undeniable. It's going to be the same no matter who we are. And if we're not able to keep a common truth, then how are we going to unify on it? It's important that we keep that truth and cherish it and make sure that the truth stays the truth. Now, to follow up some more, we then follow up with the idea of love. How do we deal with love? True love is dealing with, just like how it says in 1 Corinthians 13:7, love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. Each of these actions must have the trust within it. Each of these actions must be done with trust in mind. We have to trust the truth, protect the truth, have hope that the truth will prevail, and will continue to prevail. And we have to keep the truth collectively the same and preserve it. If we keep that truth and that love together, then we will be able to stay unified, just like Dr. Martin Luther King has said. He referenced before the Declaration of Independence that says, "We hold these truths, that all men are created equal." If we believe that that is the truth, then we should stand on it and treat each other the same. Thank you.
It was like Moses went to the mountain, the promised land. He said, if I don't make it, we as a people and a nation, we must stand. He lived for justice, liberty, love, peace and democracy. He laid down his life for his friends. Late one Thursday evening, he died. Oh, he